For 30 years, I've been a professional filmmaker and fine art photographer. My shows and art have been exhibited on HBO Cinemax, Showtime Australia, B-Sky B Great Britain, USA Channel, DirecTV, in galleries, and much more worldwide. These days, I own fine art photography galleries, and I'm on a mission to inspire people to reconnect with nature and the wilderness through photography. I'm Gary Orona, and this is my wild world. Hello everybody, Gary here. I hope you're doing great. Tabitha and I are having a wonderful week, and we've been out exploring and shooting all kinds of new locations and just having a spectacular time. I want to talk about two images today and kind of give you the backstory on these guys and why they're so cool. So this right here is going to be the second image that I get into, so you'll have to wait for this one. This is Vampire Badlands, and there's a really cool story behind this one. The first one I want to talk about there really quickly, and these are both concept pieces, by the way, and I call a concept piece something that's not just a pure landscape. It's something that's sort of been created or that I found that fits a sort of a conceptual idea or evokes a certain emotion or feeling that is definitely concept oriented. Concept piece. Now, this location is way out in a remote desert area south of where we are in Green River, Utah. Very few people know where this is. It's a fantastic location. It looks like something out of a Sergio Leone Western, like Once Upon a Time in the West. It is really cool. In fact, I've got a piece I shot of this particular old pioneer cabin, which is still out there. It's authentic. It's the real deal. With this big black storm coming in. I call it The Arrival. It's black and white. So you can go to savageterritory.com, my website, and take a look at the Master Gallery and hunt for this piece. It's called The Arrival. At any rate, I was out there on this particular day, and I was trekking around, and I found this old Coors can, probably 30, 40, 50 years old. And then I found these old pair of shoes out there, and that's when the idea hit me, because, you know, sometimes when we're out in these locations, we really are sort of overwhelmed with this idea of suffering, pain and suffering, especially among folks who are out here, old prospectors, old cowboys and whatnot, years and years, 100 years ago, when the creature comforts that we have did not exist. And so what really kind of caught me in the idea that I went into with respect to this, and incidentally, this piece is called Hank's Happy Ending. And I call it Hank's Happy Ending for a reason. And I'm going to zoom in here for a second. We'll take a look and you can see a little bit more detail of what's going on here. So there's this old Coors can I found, and I didn't shoot the shot because I like Coors. I'm not really a big fan of Coors, but it was a cool looking old can. There's old shoes out there. And the thought that sort of overwhelmed me in the moment was this can of Coors. You know, when you're out on these locations, it's incredibly hot. Sometimes it's buggy. If it's in the dead of winter, it's really cold. But in this particular case, incredibly hot in the summer, you know, well over 100 degrees. It's those little small moments in life that are so wonderful. And I just imagine this, you know, old cowboy or old prospector or whoever the previous owner of this old can was out there in these really hot, miserable conditions. And I just imagine what this one can of beer could mean to this person, because I know that there have been times when I've been slogging along mile after mile after mile, and I'm just beat to hell, and just a swig of water, cold water, is the best thing ever. And so that's what I was really thinking about when I put this one together. So I imagine this guy who had his favorite old pair of shoes. I don't know why the heck these shoes were out there in this can. And he's just had a tough go of it in a tough life, in a tough day. Maybe this was his last day. I don't know. But I thought it was so cool to think about Hank's happy ending and this moment of happiness of just having this simple little creature comfort in this, I imagine it, you know, being in an ice chest or something. So he's got this cold beer, this one thing to give him relief in an otherwise really, really treacherous setting. And so that's sort of the story behind Hank's Happy Ending. Now, I don't remember, this is a multiple image stitch. It's a 2-to-1 aspect ratio. and it prints really well to 20 by 40 or 30 by 60. So it's, 1 tall and 2 wide. I think it was 5 vertical images stitched together. I can't remember the exact number, but anyway, the file size is nice and large, and that's why there's so much detail. I mean, you can get right into this thing, and it's super cool. Look at the detail in this thing. It's fantastic. You can go really, really big with it. So that is Hank's Happy Ending, and that's the idea behind that one. Now, let's go over to Vampire Badlands. This is one of my most popular pieces, and really super fun. So the backstory to this is with respect to the vampire skull right here. And what my original idea was is I had a prop shop in Hollywood make this vampire skull for me. And the reason I did it is more of a prank or joke than anything. What I wanted to do with Tabitha is I wanted to go out to Arches National Park or Canyonlands, places where there are a lot of tourists. And these are places we never go. But I thought, how fun would it be if I had this vampire skull in my backpack at the top, and I unlatch it and I set it up in just such a way that if I set it down on the ground, it would kind of roll out of my backpack right in the middle of a giant group of tourists. See, these tour buses pull up all the time in some of these sites. And I thought it'd be so cool to have this head, this vampire skull, roll out in the middle of them, have Tabitha off to the side with the video camera, videotaping their reactions. I thought that would be so cool. Anyway, we didn't get around to doing that, but I did have this guy in my backpack for a long time. So for about a month, I was carrying this vampire skull in my backpack, just waiting till I, stumbled across a location that fit really, really, really well and felt like it belonged and gave me a feeling of the sense of this crazy, wild old vampire skull. And so on this particular day, Tabitha and I were actually kind of hunting around to see if there were any dinosaur bones in this Badlands area. And I found this guy there. I didn't plant it there. It was already there. This, what looks like a cross. Well, I'm not religious. I didn't go plant a cross over there. So what this is it's a very old, probably from the late 1940s. It's an old uranium miners prospecting stake. So it's a claim stake. And he had stamped in a piece of metal on here, the location and the claim number and all that good stuff. So this is actually a super old Cold War era uranium claim stake over here. And I thought that was so cool with the clear sky behind it and then the out of focus ridge line behind it here. And so I found this old stick and there was some barbed wire and I wrapped it around and created this little setting, and I call it Vampire Badlands. Another little note, you can't see, obviously, it's way back here and it's out of focus, but Tabitha was up on this ridge over here hunting around for dinosaur bones when I shot this, and she actually did find some dinosaur bones up in there. So it was really, really a cool special day. This piece is I think this was 3 images stitched together, so it also prints really nice and large, and it's also a 2-to-1, and so it's 1 tall, 2 wide. And so at 20 by 40, it's amazing. At 30 by 60, it's even more amazing. All the detail is there. It's really super cool. So this is another concept piece. Again, and I explained that previously. This is Vampire Badlands and one of my favorite pieces. In fact, I have a 16 by 30 infused metal version of this in the gallery right now. So hit me up if you're interested in that. It's a 16 by 30. So it's slightly cropped. So it's almost 2-to-1. Really cool piece. So that's it. I wanted to give you kind of an insight as to a couple of pieces, my concept pieces, and how they work. Next video up, I will do a little commentary on a straight regular landscape. And that's it. So have a great day. Be sure to subscribe and go to the website savageterritory.com. It's one word. If you click on the master gallery section there, you will be able to see lots of good stuff, well over 1,000 images in these wild landscapes that Tabitha and I hit up. So have a great day. Bye.